الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise the glory and the status of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the first recording I'm making in English in response to some of my friends who asked for messages in English, and even some of you has offered to pay for the camera system. There is no need to do that. A cell phone will suffice. This will be basically a translation of things I hear in Arabic that maybe I don't see them in English, or maybe just to make it easy for you to get this information. Now, there are a lot of brothers in the English world doing a lot of amazing work, teaching Hanafi and Shafi'i, and they're way more qualified than myself. But, I feel there is a major shortage when it comes to the ulama who speak in Arabic language and translating their work. I know some of our Ash'ari brothers have been translating some works, and that is in Arabic, and they transcript the translation in English. And I wish if we can get a vocal translation. I don't know if you guys are into like reading things in translation, but I like to have an overlap voice, and especially with the mashayikh who are like, they're not asking for anything. They're not asking for any kind of payment for, they say, go ahead, translate. Just do a proper job. And I've heard like some of them say that, go ahead, propagate the knowledge, translate. You don't even have to ask anything. We have permission for everyone. So that's something for our active tech brothers and to do that, inshallah. I will begin this first recording with a hadith I've heard this week for the first time. I was listening to Habib Abu Bakr al-Mashhur, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him, who pretty much dedicated his life to talking about the signs of the Day of Judgment. So he mentioned one hadith in his speech, and he talked extensively regarding that matter. I'm not going to talk for like an hour like him, but I think the hadith alone will suffice if you think and if you contemplate the hadith. The hadith talks about the consequence of people who seek dunya in the name of religion. And seeking dunya in the name of religion, it's not only in terms of monetary value, getting lavish payments, being recognized as the scholar of the era and so on and so forth, but it's also in recognition, seeking fame, seeking people to respect you, wanting people to listen to you, So these things are also part of seeking dunya. A genuine alim and one who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will teach religion without expecting anything in return. He's not expecting people to put him on a high platform, he's not expecting to attain dunya. In fact, many of the genuine mashayikh we've seen, past and present, they fear when people are looking up to them. So the hadith says, Abu Huraira says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, يخرج في آخر الزمان, at the end of time, men shall come. يخرج في آخر الزمان رجال يختلون الدنيا بالدين. At the end of time, there shall come men who will seek dunya in the name of religion. يلبسون للناس جلود الضأن من اللين. They will dress for people the skin of wool in gentleness. And this could mean, it could be a metaphoric meaning here in the hadith, that they dress like sheep in gentleness, meaning they act very gentle. And Imam al-Ghazali, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him, in his book Yahya بالدين, he really focused in Bab al-Ilm. He focused on the ulama, because the book was essentially made for the ulama. It wasn't made for people like you and I, like laymen, but it was made for people who are like well founded in religion. And he was, some might say, was harsh, because he talked about people who do this, who seek in their excellence of Islamic knowledge, or in their knowledge, and their vast knowledge, they seek dunya. So he talked about the issue of fanatism. He talked about like arguments that are not really necessary, things of that nature. And he talked like really deep about those things and the psychological ramification. He even and he used terms such as he called them wolves dressed like sheep. That kind of one meaning of the hadith. Like wolves dressed like sheep. The hadith will also mention the term wolf, as we're going to get to it. So that could be one meaning. And also, Sheikh Murabit al-Hajj, may Allah have mercy on him, when he died, one of the very common advice that he gave, that was like all over the net when he died, he talked about, the end of time, and he talked about people who talk about religion, who are wolves dressed like sheep. And he mentioned the saying of Imam al-Ghazali in the 5th century, and he said, how would our time be? Because we live at a time where, I don't have to mention, but this is a very interesting time we live in. Things are changing very, very fast, and there's a lot of issues. So that the Prophet ﷺ, now in this hadith, he goes, there'll be men at the end of time who will seek religion, will seek dunya in the name of religion, dressed in sheep skin of gentleness, meaning they show a very gentle act. Another meaning could be sheepskin, or could be the clothing that are made out of sheep, which is wool. And times have changed today because wool is expensive. People make suits out of it, but back in the days, wool was cheap, and it wasn't comforting. It was worn by the poor. And according to some, this is how the term Sufi came about, from the word Suf in Arabic, which means wool. And the Sufis, they dressed with wool, and they were very, very gentle and humble and down to earth. And that's how the name began. That's one possibility. And the other possibility, they say it's probably from Safa, which means purity in the heart, among other possibilities. So it says in the hadith, أَلْسِنَتُهُمْ أَحْلَى مِنَ السُّكَّرِ. Their tongue are more sweet than sugar. So they have sweet tongues. So when they talk to people, you can imagine people who are they have a very gentle demeanor, down to earth. The words that comes out of their mouth is very, very sweet. But then the Prophet ﷺ says, وَقُلُوبُهُمْ قُلُوبُ الذِّئَابِ. But their hearts are the hearts of the wolves. Meaning what you see from the outwardness of these people is not what the hearts contain. The hearts are harsh. This is the hearts of the wolves. The attention and the goal is dunya. Even though the clothing that they're wearing is religion. And this is also psychological. You have people who do things for the wrong reason, and they lie to people, and people believe them, and they lie to themselves, and they believe themselves at the same time. So you have this kind of psychological consequence. They lie to themselves, they lie to the people, and they become convinced of their own lie. So anyone that goes against them, they will fight very hard because they're very convinced of the lie that they have made for themselves. And let's continue with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ of the consequence when this happened. يقول الله عز وجل. It says in the hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Almighty says, أبي يغترون. Are they being fooled, or are they fooling by me? They're fooling other people by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they are being fooled by the mercy of Allah. That's another meaning. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not punish the person immediately, mostly. So because of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah's given them time, sometimes people get fooled by it. أَمْ عَلَيَّ يَجْتَرِئُونَ. Or do they dare against me? They dare against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by using the name of Allah to attain their wrong desire or wrong goal. And then it says in the hadith, فَبِي حَلَفْتُ. I swear by myself, or I swear by me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by himself, لَأَبْعَثَنَّ عَلَى أُولَٰئِكَ مِنْهُمْ فِتْنَةً تَدَعُ الْحَلِيمَ مِنْهُمْ حَيْرَانًا. It says by myself, I swear by me, that I shall bring a tribulation on these people, bring fitna on these people, تَدَعُ الْحَلِيمَ مِنْهُمْ حَيْرَانًا. That will make the Halim, the most forgiving. Halim means someone who is calm, forgiving, And being calm is also, it shows of a person being rational also at the same time. He's very calm, he's very forgiving. The calm and forgiving among them, hayrana, in confusion. So subhanallah, the consequence among these, with this attitude, it says, the person that you see, or he is calm and he's forgiving at the same time, the result will be confusion, being lost in confusion. And I heard one of the mashayikh bring a different analogy for this, Adham al-Asimi. I was listening to his tafsir, and he had a very beautiful tafsir. MashaAllah, very good educator. And he was talking about the verse of the Quran, which came on the kuffar in this particular verse, but we can learn about human behavior and the consequences of action. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, سَأَصْرِفُ عَنْ آيَاتِيَ الَّذِينَ يَتَكَبَّرُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, I shall sway away, or I shall lead away from my signs those who are arrogant on earth. بغير الحق, those who are unrightfully arrogant on earth. وإن يروا كل آية لا يؤمنوا بها, and if they see every sign they will not believe in it. وإن يروا سبيل الرشد لا يتخذوه سبيلا, and if they see the path of righteousness they will not take that path. وإن يروا سبيل الغي يتخذوه سبيلا, and if they see the path of unrighteousness, if they see the stray path, they will take that path for themselves. ذلك بأنهم كذبوا بآياتنا, and this is so because they belied our signs. وكانوا عنها غافلين, and they were heedless in it. Heedlessness, another problem that also could afflict, like when you are seeking the truth to be customized the way you want it to be. And Sheikh Adham mentioned, you have people. Now this ayah came on the kuffar. He mentioned other ayahs also to explain this better than myself. But sometimes, not necessarily someone who's from that category, that's like an extreme category, but someone who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believes on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but very, very argumentative. He wants things to be customized the way he wants it to be. Or sometimes you have people saying things like, when they realize they're wrong, after all of these years, what am I going to go and tell people? This is not a person who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if you fear Allah, you would never say anything like this. After all of these years, so what? You're not a prophet, you're not ma'asum, you made mistakes, so what's a big deal? Say you're wrong and then correct yourself. But this kind of psychological way of thinking affects a lot of people. And sometimes even the person makes dua of Umar ibn Khattab, Allahumma arini al-haqqa haqqan, oh Allah, show me the truth that's truthful, and Allah shows you the truth. And the evidence comes before you, but then you got to investigate more, that's fine. So one door opens, and like in the words of Sheikh Adham, another second door open, 100 doors open, and Allah shows you that this is, look at all of this evidence, but you can't swallow it because you wanted it to be the way, customized the way you've been saying it, or you wanna save yourself from the shame, so you keep on rejecting it, and the consequence become, then you become blind to the truth. Then like this, then you become blind to a point that what they call al-badihiyat, things that are very, very vivid, that if you predict, a neutral person will say, oh yeah, this is it, this is so clear, it is so difficult on you, or you can't even see it. You see this also psychological problem, or this consequence with politicians. Politicians, they fight, there's a lot of arrogance in that circle, and then sometimes the truth comes before them. So instead of being truthful, and even people are saying, look, this is the truth, they become so adamant to support their own base that they keep on arguing. And sometimes in some countries this goes into warfare and destruction to a whole society. And someone who's out of the circle looks back at them and like, what's wrong with these people? Like, why are they doing this? Even sometimes their own citizens are saying, why is he doing this? So why can't he see the truth? But he's so adamant because he wants the truth to be customized to that base, to that political party, and he keeps on rejecting it. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly makes him blind, that others see it but he can't see it. And so the consequence, going back to the hadith, of trying to seek dunya in the name of religions, and part of dunya is money, fame, recognition, all of these things, is utter confusion at the end. Utter confusion. even for the person who is most calm and forgiving. That leads to that consequence. May Allah protect us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.